UIC.
Freedom the people of
Hell yeah.
freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah,
Yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Ready for broke every chain. Then when you free up the people, levitate. Jamaica member, you ever great. I feel burn up the fire upon every snake. Me give thanks in every way. God still a look down once see we safe. UIC run the road long time. GLP and PMP I sell we out. Still I do the test even though we know the end result. If them coulda kill with them catch we and hang we know. No force no coercion, me freedom in a step. Them want to rob we and kill we and feel them and go make it out. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. Yeah, real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Yeah, me drop the braffing down and then I laughing now. What them talking about? Everything cement and we not talking growth. Jamaican intellectuals are marching now. Them couldn't get the last laugh, now them laughing loud. We don't need the small talk when we talking, bro. We don't need them.
Hello, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV Live. This is Joseph Patterson, President of the UIC, and today I want to talk to you about the UIC's 10-point plan. I want to talk about that especially in the context of the upcoming local government elections, which are constitutionally due by the 28th of February 2022. So just around the corner. As you know, the UIC is busy. We are very, very busy. Later today, we have a big meeting with all of our approved candidates, and we're still working on filling out all of the slots for the next local government and general elections. As you know, we need 228 councillor candidates for the local government election, and we need 63 candidates for the general election. Many of us, including myself, will be contesting the local government elections, and some of us will also be contesting the general elections when that come up. It is time, my friends. The time has come for us to change the trajectory for Jamaica. The time has come for us to create a real new Jamaica, and I am totally dependent on you. We are totally dependent on you. We are dependent on each other to create that new Jamaica. So welcome. Thanks to all of you who are on the live right now. I look forward to taking questions from you as well. We're going to talk about the 10-point plan, beginning with our Yes Jamaica program, which is to help our young people to be able to find jobs or to create their own jobs. So you're going to learn more about that today. So good afternoon and welcome to all of you who are here. I want to take as many questions as I can. We only have 60 minutes. And so far, we have taken about 5 out of it. So in the next 55 minutes, let's see if we can get through all 10 points that the UIC will be pushing in the upcoming local government elections and also when we participate in the general. And believe you me, we intend to win them both. I think all of us, every single Jamaican, is fed up and tired of the system that we have right now. We're fed up and we're tired of the leadership that we have. We're fed up and we're tired of our country always being some kind of football for the foreign masters. They get to impose their will upon us, and we have some lucky politicians, some lucky leaders who they seem to be just puppets and parrots for other people's agenda. It is time for us to have the people's agenda, the Jamaican people's agenda. And it's very simple. We want some very basic things. We want crime under control. We want a safe Jamaica. We want a clean Jamaica. We want the orderly Jamaica. We want a Jamaica that brings out the best in all its people. And that's what the UIC is all about. So let's jump into it. You have seen on our website, you have seen all over Facebook, the UIC talking about its 10-point plan to create a real new Jamaica. So UIC is for you. You are the most important element in all of this. The UIC exists for one purpose and one purpose only, and it is to satisfy the dreams and aspirations of the Jamaican people. So, once again, welcome to today's edition of UIC Liberty TV, and we are going to talk about the 10-point plan of the UIC. So I should begin by saying something very, very basic, which you all know. Our vision, the UIC's vision, our vision is a Jamaica that brings out the best in all its people. And our mission is to create a nonpartisan constitutional republic that will fully protect the sovereignty of every Jamaican citizen equally. At the core, at our very core, we value individual liberty and personal responsibility above everything else. And our primary objectives are to ensure every citizen, every single Jamaican citizen, can enjoy a safe, clean, and orderly society where all are truly free and where all can live, earn, and retire with dignity in their own country. There's so many of you right now in the diaspora who wish you could come home today, but you're afraid. You want to come home to your own country, but you want to be in a safe environment. You want to be in a clean environment. You want to be in an orderly environment. You also want to be free. You don't want to be a slave of anybody. You don't want nobody deciding what they should put into your body. You want to be free to enjoy your life, your liberty, and your property, free from all coercion or force, whether it be by elected criminals or unelected criminals. So the UIC is here to provide you with that. And we can't do it without you. As you know, we're funded by you, the people. We're not funded by big business. It's the small donors like yourself that make it work. So let's talk about the 10 things that we're going to do as a political movement, as a political party, the 10 things that we're going to do to create the kind of Jamaica that you need in order to enjoy your life, your liberty, and your property. The first thing we're going to do is very basic and should have been done a long time ago, and is a key part of why we have the crime problem, right? So the first thing we're going to do in government is to establish a youth employment solution program. We call it YES, a youth employment solution program. This program is going to ensure that every single high school graduate who does not go into university are employed as an apprentice where they can gain valuable on the job experience and develop good work ethics. This is very important. Right now, the vast majority of our graduates come out of school and they can't find any work for a number of reasons. Many of them do not have the kind of skills or attitude or work ethics which will make them easily employable. Many of them are not at the stage yet where they can add enough value to the company for the cost of hiring them. And so the UIC understands these issues, these limitations, And so we're committed to creating an environment where all of these graduates that are not going on to university, every single one of them, can get full employment as an apprentice and learn the valuable skills that they need, earn some money in the process, and develop the kind of work ethics which is necessary if they're going to go further and become a highly productive and effective member of society. So that's number one. We have to make sure we take care of the children and get them off the street, wasting time and wasting away. We have to solve that problem right now. So when they become a part of the Youth Employment Solution program that the UIC will put in place, they're going to remain in this program and transition to a regular full time job or into some form of entrepreneurship activity. So the program is designed both to provide employment and work experience, but also to help with the transition now into a regular full time job or into an entrepreneurship activity, whether they're going to be starting their own incubator business or they're going to join with another entrepreneur that already exists, partner with somebody. We're going to help them with that transition to make sure that they move from high school to being highly productive. Secondarily, by taking the young people into this program, we're going to be starving the gangs. So the gangs won't have any more freshly minted young people coming out of school ready to be grafted in because we're going to occupy them and give them a means of earning an income without joining the gang. This will help to reduce the crime and violence we see in our society. There are many areas where we can absorb all of these young people. There's, for example, ambulance service, firefighting, military, agriculture, police. Many private establishments would love to have the help of some young persons who they're helping to mentor and train, but it's in a structured and organized program that minimizes the risk to them and allow them to bring in these young people and get them to upgrade their skills or learn new skills or develop the kind of work ethics which will make them very, very productive for any form of employment or entrepreneurship activity they may take up. While they're in this program, we're going to ensure that they all get a chance to develop financial literacy. One of the key reasons why we have so many problems in the economy is because the vast majority of us were not taught how money works, how economics really works. And because of that, we make very poor decisions and we're manipulated by unscrupulous politicians and business people. So I want to make sure that we use this opportunity to make these new graduates become financially literate. They're already at the end of their school years, their high school years. So we're playing catch up, with things that should have been done. Of course, we're going to change the curriculum, change the whole structure so that these things are done earlier and that they come out of high school ready for the world of work or to go on to university. But for now, we have to bridge them. So that's why we have this program here called the Youth Employment Solution. Let me see if we have any questions on that so far. So I don't see any questions on that as yet. Somebody says, as much as I would want to see the UIC assume government, I strongly doubt it will come to fruition based on how partisan and illiterate the majority of our population are. I would not say that sports fanatic. I think that we need to be positive. We need to make sure that we are doing what we need to do to overcome the problem that you have identified. Yes, there are many persons who are partisan. Yes, there are many people who are illiterate, but even illiterate and partisan people have sense. And right now, many Jamaicans who you may call illiterate or that you may call them partisan, many of them now realize that they need a change and that this is the time to do it because they cannot trust those who have led us for the last 77 years And so they have to change. Lion is saying we have to make this happen and stay positive. Exactly. We need to do that. Good evening to you, Michael Mitchell. Thank you for the shout out. The question from Annalicia, will you implement a system in the schools where the children from an early age take one day to assemble things and being creative from an early age? Absolutely, Annalicia. That's very important for us to change the model of our schooling to one where when you graduate, you actually graduate with the competences necessary to be highly productive. What we have now is a system that does not achieve that. So we have to fix that. Sidoni Williams says, so true. Things can turn around with time and the plan the UIC wants to implement in our country. Excellent. Let's now move on to the point number two. Point number two is very important. Again, it helps to address the serious problem of crime and violence in Jamaica. So, point number two, we're going to create a modern police service. This is very important. We have to move away from what we currently have, the police force, and we have to create a police service. This is key. It's very important that we have such a service in place. We also have to address the national defense, or what we call the army. We're going to call that the National Defense Service. We have to reorient the police and the army to make sure that they realize who they're really here to fight for. They're here to fight for the citizens of Jamaica. They're here to respect the citizens of Jamaica. They're here to protect the borders of Jamaica. They're here to provide us with peace of mind and not to be disrespectful and not to treat us as if we are the enemies. The people of Jamaica must never be regarded as the enemy. And so the police and the soldiers must know that they're working for the people. They're not working for the politician. They're working for the people. And so we want to have laws in place and structures in place and training in place that brings our police to a proper understanding of the law and have proper and objective laws, and then provide these police and soldiers with the kind of training, the tools, and the compensation that they need to be effective. They have to effectively protect the life, the liberty, and the property rights of every citizen and do so equally. But for them to do that, the laws must be very clear, the laws must be very objective, and the terms of reference under which they operate must be very specific to the fact that the police and the army exist to protect every single individual citizen. They're there to serve and protect, to respect, to serve and protect, to respect, to serve and protect. And so the days where the police mistreat citizens, abuse citizens, disrespect citizens, those days need to be behind us quickly. And the UIC government is going to see to that. Those police officers who need significant rehabilitation will get it, because we cannot afford to have a situation where the people are afraid of their police or afraid of the soldiers. Uh, and when it comes down to the soldiers, we want to make sure that we turn that into a significant border control element of managing our society. For example, if guns and ammunitions can't come into the country, then the criminals can't get them, right? So if we want to address the crime problem, a big part of that is to make sure that we have addressed the border control. How are guns and ammunitions, illegal guns and ammunitions, coming into the country? Let's solve that problem. Let's lock off the supply. And if you lock off the supply, then you begin to prevent the deaths caused by shooting. Okay? Then we also have to make sure that we come from the top down when it comes on to corruption, because it's really corruption which drives much of the other problems that we have. So we have to eliminate that corruption at the top level from the prime minister's office all the way down. Find out where in these pockets, whichever ministry, whichever minister, whichever um, authority figure in any particular position that is carrying out the corrupt activities. Let's focus in there. Let the police focus in on investigating the people who are in authority, the people who are wearing the jacket and the ties, the people who are sitting in the boardrooms. Let's go after them first. And if we catch them, then they don't have the wherewithal to provide the means for the puppets that they use at the bottom, and they can't supply them and they can't protect them. So cut off the supply. Cut off the supply of guns. Cut off the supply of protection from corrupt persons in authority, and you begin to significantly reduce the crime problem. And then make sure that we have trained our police and soldiers properly, that we have equipped them properly, and that we're compensating them at a level that allows them to operate as professionals. So it means we're going to have to increase the salary of the police, and we have to hire and keep only the best police. So we want people who are qualified, people who are qualified and competent to be in our police service. We need to elevate the police to a level, a level where they're respected by society. They're highly paid, they're highly trained, and they're bright people. If you have dunce people in position of authority, they'll do horrible things. So make sure we don't have dunce people in very good positions in our police service. Make sure we have high quality persons that can do the job, that are mentally prepared to do the job, that are psychologically prepared to do the job, that are academically skilled to be able to understand, interpret, and carry out the responsibilities appropriately. Yeah. So we have to invest in effective training, invest in the tools, and make sure we change the mindset from police force to police service. We also have to improve the working conditions of the police. Many of these police stations, it's like a garbage can. It's a horrible place to work in. And if you have your police working and in horrible conditions and driving old dilapidated vehicles and having poor salaries, what do you expect? You're going to get a highly corrupt police force. And when, of course, you have a corrupt political structure in the first place, then those corrupt politicians, together with those corrupt business leaders, join together and create and maintain a corrupt police service and a corrupt um, infrastructure, right? So let's work on that. So that's number two. We're going to have a modern police service and a modern national defense service that treats our citizens with respect and protect our borders and provide our police and soldiers with the training, the tools, and the compensation they need to effectively protect the life, the liberty, and property rights of all Jamaicans. So that is key, right? Somebody else is saying here the UIC needs strong private security to do so because of the gunmans. Yeah, man, we know that, and we're beefing up our security around all of our leaders and so on. Somebody here says, but the Dons secure the votes and they benefit by the MPs giving them access. Absolutely. And we're going to cut all of that out. Daniel said, if they have to run bars in police stations, what kind of system you expect? Exactly, Daniel. So we have to attack all of these things. Somebody says, what is your qualification? Because you say you are independent. How is the people in charge if you come into government? Poke, I'm not sure what you mean, but what is my qualifications? Well, I studied engineering at UTech. I studied accounting at University of Calgary. I am a chartered professional accountant, and I have over 25 years experience in business, finance, and leadership. I've sat on a number of boards, one of the latest being the international board in the Netherlands, where I oversaw a budget of over $146 billion, particularly geared towards helping low income families in about 75 countries through financial inclusion, alternative energy, and similar projects that we use to help to improve the lives of people. Lion says, No more dons in Jamaica. Absolutely. Sophia says, loving the highlights of the police. They certainly need better pay and training. Absolutely. Marvin Johnson, how would you deal with public sector salaries, nurses, teachers, and not just police officers? Very good question, Marvin. It's coming up. Give me a few minutes and we'll get down to what's happening with the teachers. So great. Somebody says UIC dons will have to go find a job like everyone else. Lion, the UIC doesn't have any dons. If we had dons, then we wouldn't be different from the other parties. Lion says no more rum bars in the police. Absolutely. Uh, Last question here before I jump back to the points, to point number 3. Um, Ridim Life says, how will you avoid bowing to foreign masters? Very good question. I have a long answer for that. Hope I can get to it later. The key thing is to make sure Jamaica becomes self sufficient. That's why we have a program to make us water, food, and energy secure. If we get to that stage, those 3 elements, it will significantly protect us from foreign interests manipulating our government. So that's a key part. Thanks for asking. Let's now switch back to the points. So we've done point number 1, which is the youth employment solution. Point number 2, which is a modern police service and national defense. And point number 3 is very, very important. It's a key part of our policy and program. We're going to ensure that every single child receives the nutrition, the education, and the health care that they need to succeed. This is very important. We have to understand how brutally important it is that we build our human capital and stop leaving our people to languish in poverty, in ignorance, and just left out in the cold. We have to fix that. So the UIC, this is probably my signature program and policy. It is to ensure that every child, nutrition is key. If you're not eating properly, the brain can't develop properly. You can't learn properly. Yeah. So every child must receive proper nutrition, a very high quality education. Every child. So we're going to make sure we have high quality teachers. High quality education, very good health care so that they can succeed. To do this, we have to provide the opportunities for teachers, for nurses, for doctors to be highly paid so that they can afford the quality of life that they deserve. If we treat our teachers well, if we treat our healthcare professionals well, and we have clear, efficient policies that are well designed for our students, for our children, then we can bring up the human capital of our citizens, right? So if we're focused on every child from birth through to adulthood, that they're getting the food that they need, getting the education, that they're healthy, that they're protected from predators, right? So we're going to really focus in on what is the home life like, what is going on here, and make sure our children and our parents are supported, and make sure our teachers and their healthcare professionals are in a position to again become the guardians of our community, the guardians of our children. Yeah, paying attention to the needs of our communities and our society. So every child must be accounted for. Every child must be protected. So we're going, you see, like how the Prime Minister is laser focused on getting us juked. We are going to be laser focused on getting our children properly nourished, properly educated, well cared for, and that our teachers and nurses and doctors are well paid and held accountable for their role. We're also going to hold parents accountable. We're going to make sure the parents feel accountable by the way we design the system. And we're going to support the parents. We're going to make sure that they're supported in their role as parents. They take their role seriously. They're held accountable, but they're fully supported by the government to honor that responsibility as parents. Let's be honest. Many of our parents were not prepared to be parents, right? They were not trained. Our school system was not designed to train our parents to be parents. So many of us who became parents became so without the requisite competencies and skills required to be parents. So we, as a government, a UIC government, will begin to address that by having effective parental education, bringing our parents back up to, or helping them to come up to the standards that they need to be, so that our parents can become a partner in building our children and building our human capital. Yeah. So yes, I see that question as well, Poco. More compassion as well in nurses and teachers. Yes, we need to get back the spirit of caring. We need to get our teachers to care again, our nurses and doctors to care again, to have the kind of customer service which we all want. Everybody wants to be treated well. Everybody wants to be treated fairly, want to be treated responsibly and respectfully. Yeah. Diana says, over the years, Jamaican government have granted ill-advised contracts to companies like the one granted to the Chinese who operate the toll roads, and that given to JPS. These policies are causing strains on taxpayers. Have you given any thought to these? And is there any way the government can correct these great errors? Absolutely, Diana. We have given much thought to these. We see the pain. We understand the mistakes that were made. And some of them are not really mistakes. We know why they were made. Many of these decisions were made because of the corruption, corrupt gains that can be made. And so they made these decisions in order to facilitate corruption, not to protect the rights and the interest of Jamaicans. Yeah. So we're going to address that. I'll talk some more about that in a bit. But just returning to the point on our children, we also have to make sure that the child's nutrition, preventive care, and the home environment is monitored. You see, like, oh, we're monitoring for COVID and we're monitoring. Let's monitor the care that is being given to our children. Let's pay attention to what's happening with them. We can't have our children being abused, at an early age. Many of our young girls lost their virginity as a child, you know, 12, 13, 14, 15, and not willingly. Many of them were raped, some by family members, some by community members, some because their parents were careless, and so on. So we really have to get serious about protecting our children, protecting their innocence, protecting their mental health, taking care of their physical health, and helping them to mature into a very ingenious adult, a very productive adult, a very conscious and aware adult. So we're talking about really improving our education system now to teach certain key values, right? So here are three things that I believe we must make sure happen in our school system, which is not happening right now. But these are three important things that must happen. Number one, we have to make sure that our children understand their bodies fully, understand how to eat, how to the importance of proper sleep, how the mind works, how the brain works, how to maintain optimal health. So mind, body, and character, right? Mind, body, and personality. Mind, body, and spirit. We want to cover all of the things that puts the child in the driver's seat of their life. So they start to understand the key things about themselves very early so that they're in a position to be able to um, make good decisions on a day-to-day basis. So their bodies, know thyself. We want the child to know his or herself completely and not be confused about their gender or be confused about sexuality or anything like that. They want to have a clear cut, unambiguous understanding about themselves, their mind, their bodies, their personality, their character traits, and how to develop and form a solid character. So values and attitudes, very important. Then you want to make sure every child understand human behavior, human relationships, how to build solid family relationships, friend relationship, spousal relationship, uh, business relationship, um, general interpersonal skills to be able to deal with people effectively, solve problems properly, how to go through proper problem solving or conflict resolution. So we need to make sure that this is being taught. You see, the problem with school today is that school today teach children how to look for a job and how to prepare for a job. And I mean very rudimentary too. The UIC sees it differently. We don't want to prepare children simply to get a job. We want to prepare them for life, how to be successful at life, how to be a successful person, the total package, how to think, how to reason, how to make decisions, how to interpret data, interpret behaviors, interpret trends. Yeah. So the first thing, understand yourself. The second thing, understand people and how to relate and deal with people. And the third, which is really crucial, is to understand money and economics, to understand how money works. All of us have to use money. It's the one thing that every single one of us cannot escape. We have to make financial decisions. Yet our school system doesn't teach our children how money really works. Where does money come from? What is money? How does the monetary system work? If if we the people understood those things, right now we would not be in the position we're in. Instead, because we don't know how money works, they get to trick us. They get to trick us with the Federal Reserve. They get to trick us with fake money called currency. They get to trick us with manipulating interest rate. They get to trick us with manipulating the money supply. They get to steal our money by manipulating exchange rates. And we don't know. The vast majority of us don't know. I know because I've taken the time. My specialty is understanding money. That's what I've spent the vast majority of my life studying: economics, finance, money, how money works, the monetary system, all the frauds in it. I have seen all the frauds, all the trickery. I fully understand all of it, but our children don't. Our parents don't. Our grandparents don't. Why? Because there was a deliberate attempt to dumb us down and to make sure we don't understand the trick. If these people were serious about identifying fake news and identifying misinformation and making sure we have the truth, we would not have the monetary system we have now because it's a complete fraud. The monetary system we have globally, and which Jamaica is a party to, is a system that steals your purchasing power every single second of every single day of every single week of every single month of every single year, which is why most of us will retire poor because they've stolen our purchasing power. They have also designed the system so we spend more and save less, if anything at all. So we're more spending driven, not savings driven, because there's no value in saving when your money is always losing value. So they have tricked us, they have conned us. So we in the UIC want to make sure we really educate the next generation of Jamaicans to understand themselves, understand human behavior so we can negotiate better, make better contracts, make better arrangements, both inside our families, in our communities, in the wider Jamaican society, and in the world, right? I mean, when I go around the world, I've traveled to so many countries and I've had to deal with so many people, you know. If we don't understand what's going on, the Chinese go and trick us, which they have. The Americans go and trick us, which they did. The English will trick us, which they absolutely did. Just imagine we sign off on a constitution where we're supposed to be getting our independence, and our leaders signed off on a constitution that says you're all a bunch of dummies. The head of state of your country must be a white woman resident in England because You are not smart enough to have the head of your country being local. How ridiculous. We also signed off on keeping the vast majority of the colonial laws that they had before independence. We just carried them over into our so called independence. Clearly, we did not have the mental capacity or the smarts to negotiate a proper constitution. Yeah. So we just followed along. We allowed the very people who abducted us from Africa, raped us in Jamaica, and extract our wealth from us. We allow them to then give us a constitution to say, here is how you should run the rest of your life. That must be the dumbest outcome I've ever seen in my entire life. Your abductor, your raper, your abuser writes your constitution for you and say, here, follow this. Follow this for the rest of your life because that's what's good for you. Clearly, our leaders had a problem, eh? And they, or maybe it's not just a problem. Maybe our leaders were a part of concocting a constitution which would keep us in a colonial mindset and a colonial structure that allows a small elite and their foreign masters to continue to extract our wealth from us. Yeah. Um, uh, Somebody says, "Are you aware of voters' expiration?" I'm not sure what you mean by that. Try saying it another way. Another person says, "Parents can do that too, like Saturday job." Not sure what that is either. So yeah, but let's continue. So having spoken about yeah, Annalise is writing again. She says, a mind that is stretched with great anticipation can never return to its former state. We are in great anticipation, Mr. Patterson. Thank you so much. And we want to stretch the minds even more. And the same thing for our children, eh? Yeah, we need to move way beyond where we have been to what we should have. Uh, Sandra said Mr. Patterson has touched on everything that is choking Jamaica. He's very forthright to the hidden agenda. Yes, absolutely. I understand what is going on, and I want you to understand it. That's the only way we're going to win this election. I cannot win this election the normal way, where we just get a bag of money and buy people out. That would be a waste because if I did that, then I would not have the kind of moral fortitude that you need in a leader. So I'll be if I were, and some people wanted us to do that. Some people said the UIC should do what the JLP and PNP did to win. Listen, any leader or any politician or any representative who is deceptive and corrupt in their attempt to win office, when they win office, they're going to be 10 times as worse. So let's not follow what the PNP and JLP did. Let's follow the principle that we, the people, are going to own this party. You and I are going to own this party. This is our party. The UIC is the people's party. And so we're going to join it, we're going to volunteer in it, we're going to donate, and we're going to vote for it. We are going to overcome the millions and millions of dollars from the private sector, the millions of dollars that they're going to steal from our tax money to run an election. We're going to overcome all of that by joining hands together, by word of mouth. We're going to tell our neighbors, tell our friends, tell our fellow employees. So the word just spread like wildfire around the country and around the world to reach all the diaspora. And we're all going to do what I have done. I have led by example, right? When I started the UIC, I used just my money and my wife money. Yeah. We paid for everything out of our pocket until gradually more persons started to donate. It took a number of years before even the website could have been paid for from donations. I had to pay for it from my pocket every single solitary month. And I'm not a, rich person in the sense of having a lot of money put down. When I take out this, it's my savings, it's my children's education money, it's my wife's savings that we're taking and we're putting into this because we want a better Jamaica. And so we continue. We continue to fight for this better Jamaica. And so all of us now have to come together and pool our time, pool our talent, pool our treasure to help the UIC to reach every nook and cranny. I want to go and travel all of the parishes and go to all of the communities, but I can't do it so easily because it's gas, it's time away from work. Like whenever I go on the road, it means I'm not doing my client's work, and so I'm not going to get paid, right? So I lose money to go on the road, but I have to go on the road. And so for us to be able to do that, the more we can donate, the more we can get done. Okay. Poker said, "What about immigration? Will you let the lost children in more?" I'm not sure I follow that. Forgive me. Can't exactly follow what you're saying. But let's now go talk about number four. So number one, we talked about the youth employment program. Number two, the police service and national defense service. And number number three, we talked about ensuring every child receives the nutrition that they need and the education and healthcare. And number four, now we're going to talk about how to make every family a property owner. How to make every family a property owner. So that will be our next objective. Now this is really key. The government has a lot of crown lands that they have just stuck up, right? And they play games with those crown lands. We have a lot of families also who are living on lands that they're either squatting on or lands which they're waiting for title to come through and so on. The UIC is going to clear up all of that mess. We're going to clear up all of that mess. We're going to divest all the crown lands because they belong to you. All of this land belong to you. You inherited that land, and when the slave masters changed the kind of slavery that they had from the 1838 chattel slavery to the apprenticeship period to the what do you call it now, the self-governance period, and then to the independence period. One thing they never did was to compensate all of us. Some people get compensation, and some people get to thief land, and some people get to trick us in politics and buy up land at cheap prices and all of that. So some of us are okay. I bought land. I didn't get any special deal. I came back to Jamaica 10 years ago, looked for a piece of land out here in St. Elizabeth, and my wife and I bought 36 acres of land here. But we got no help. We got no special help. We got no political benefits. This was purely us buying at fair market value. But there are many Jamaicans who will never be able to do that for various reasons. And some have family lands which was passed down to them, which needs to be settled and so on. So what we want to do, we want to fix that problem. We want to make sure that every Jamaican become a property owner. So those of us who don't have land or don't have titles to land or don't have the benefits of owning land will get those benefits. We're now going to divest all of those lands and put them into the good lands. We're going to put the lands that are best for agriculture under agriculture and organic agriculture at that. And then the lands, and then we're going to create homes by converting all of the garrison communities and the ghetto communities and the squatter communities into affordable, high quality condominiums, and make sure every single family now has a home. Now, you might say, how are we going to do this? I mean, there's lots of money. It's all about proper management and understanding economics and how to do it. So we can do it. We're going to make sure we have some very good structures that allows persons to have intergenerational mortgages that are affordable, but that gives them today, when we become government, a high quality home to live in. So the children are no longer in these squalid conditions, in these dirty, unkept places and so on. Some families living in incomplete homes. We're going to bring all of those under a massive construction project that will create jobs, that will put people in quality, decent homes with proper indoor toilet, proper kitchens, proper living room, proper bedroom, so the boys and girls can be in different rooms and all kind of stuff. So we're going to fix that through a structured program that is based on sound economic principles that gives Jamaican what they're entitled to, their inheritance, to be homeowners, to have a property. But we're not going to do it in a careless way. So we're going to preserve the good lands for agriculture and then make sure that all Jamaicans are shareholders in those agricultural businesses. So the land is going to become our oil. You know, like how you have countries like Dubai and the Middle Eastern countries, and others that have oil, and the citizens benefit from the oil revenue. So what we're going to do is to turn Jamaica into an organic food capital and let the citizens benefit from the profits that comes from these organic farms that are going to be all across the country. This is going to create hundreds of thousands of jobs. We're going to have to even import labor to be able to keep up with the kind of mass, high tech, organic farming that we're going to have. That's going to get rid of all the bad herbicides and pesticides and fertilizers that were being used, and get rid of the GMO seeds and bring back our true organic seeds and get that back into circulation, kill out all the invasive species, and get our economy back on track as a sound agricultural economy that's driven by, I'm going to say more later, but water and energy security and so on. So, in short, divest all the crown properties into the hands of the Jamaican people for farming, organic farming, eliminate all the squatting, garrison, ghetto communities permanently, and clean up the place, make it look nice, put in proper parks and community centers, not the Jamaican type community centers, real community centers, the ones with, with proper management, staff, gymnasium, meeting rooms, library, resource centers, that kind of stuff I'm talking about. Quality community centers that help both children and adults to go there and improve their lives, improve their skills, learn and grow, right? We're going to have 100% home ownership with affordable intergenerational mortgages that allows every Jamaican family to have a home, and we have a program to help them to pay for that as well, because you have to be earning, right? But we're going to make sure that we get them into earning capacities, stretch the mortgage out as long as we need to make sure we can get them into this stabilized environment, and make the Jamaican citizens shareholders in productive lands and focus those lands on organic farming as well as community tourism. Number five, we're going to eliminate the tolls, no more toll roads. So we're going to have those roads, but get rid of the tolls. So renegotiating all of that, and implement a solid system of quality road networks into all communities. So no more where you have the main road is good and you turn off and it's all this bad road and you can't get up to your house. We're going to treat you with respect and focus on getting all of our roads properly fixed. Not the elter-skelter thing you're used to. Proper civil engineering now. Proper civil engineering with good drainage systems that are maintained, cleaned routinely by having a public works department with regular staff that are working around the clock, 365 days a year, to maintain a quality road infrastructure, a quality drainage system, and a quality landscape that you can enjoy right across every single parish, every community. Again, job creation, productivity improvements. And on top of that, we're going to introduce a 21st century transportation service that includes high-speed rail and ferry service right across the country. So you can live in Hanover and you can work in St. Thomas. You can live in St. Anne and work in Portland. You can live in Westmoreland and work in Kingston. You don't have to move to Kingston. You can just quickly hop on and get there by train or bus. And don't believe we can't do this. All of this is already done in Singapore. They have done it because they had leadership. They had leaders who cared, leaders with vision, leaders with purpose, leaders who were looking to build the country as opposed to building their own personal bank account. You have a prime minister now that's focused on building his own wealth and not building the interest of the Jamaican people. We have to change that. And it begins with leadership, with a heart of love, with care for the Jamaican people, care for Jamaica itself. I am shocked to see the condition of our country after 77 years. It means that all of those politicians who have led us for 77 years, they have no respect, no regards for the Jamaican people. And that's why our country looks so dilapidated, so unclean, and so uncared for. Because if they loved Jamaica, if they really cared about Jamaica, our country wouldn't look like this. So we're going to fix the problem. We're going to fix the problem by focusing on Jamaica instead of corruption. Yeah? And we're going to stop the bleeding and then refocus that money into the economy and into fixing the country. So we're going to make it easier and faster for people to move goods and services around the country and move themselves around the country. We're going to increase export as a result of the lower transportation costs and the easier access to bringing things to port. So this point number 5 is critical for lifting up the economy by having a solid transport infrastructure network that allows for easy and efficient movement from your home to your destination anywhere around the country. Number 6, we're going to achieve water, food, and energy security by shifting from mining. Mining is bad. Mining is non-renewable. When they mine that, it's done. Yes, you get some short-term benefits of some money today, but you're giving up all of the future benefits of having that asset, that infrastructure asset, that natural asset in place. So we're going to stop the mining foolishness and shift now to energy harvesting, right? So alternative energy production, water harvesting, organic farming. That's the new Jamaica. Alternative energy production, water harvesting, organic farming. This is going to drive our economy the way oil has driven other economy. And you should not be surprised, because Jamaica did this before. We were the leading country in the Caribbean, the jewel in the British economy. And so we have to now reinvent ourselves, not a slave economy anymore that makes a few people very rich and the colonial masters rich, but a Jamaican driven economy that makes the Jamaican people rich. Every Jamaican. Now we want to channel our economy so it makes them rich, right? So we're gonna make Jamaica the organic food capital of the world. We're going to have a water harvesting grid that links all the communities so none of them suffers anymore from lack of water or low water pressure. We're going to reduce energy costs so that we can now get into manufacturing again and other productions by using solar, biogas, geothermal, wind energy, hydro energy. We're gonna build a cogeneration system where we gradually move away from fossil fuel, have a good mix of these different types of energy, open up the market for the local Jamaican, for the returning resident Jamaican, some smart people that can come in and get involved in grand energy solutions that will bring down the cost of operation and boost our productivity. Number 7, we're going to eliminate poverty with a workfare program that provides every Jamaican a job. This might sound fairy tale to you, but it isn't. We have enough work here in Jamaica. What we don't have is good governance, which then inhibits people from creating jobs. So we're going to undo all of the false, oppressive, bad regulatory structures that is killing off small businesses. And we're going to put a program in place called Workfare instead of welfare. What Workfare does, it will reduce unemployment and get everyone involved in playing their part in paying for a quality society. We don't want a Jamaica where anybody talk about anything is free. We want a Jamaica where everybody knows that we're all responsible for paying for the Jamaica that we want. So Workfare will get the unemployed working so that they can contribute to their children's education and healthcare and not expect other Jamaicans to pay the cost of their children. Let's get everybody together working. Workfare instead of welfare. This makes everyone accountable and productive. Workfare instead of welfare gets the unskilled to learn on the job and to improve their employability over time. So we're going to have a program that makes every Jamaican engaged and accountable. This is going to affect crime in a very positive way by people having to be accountable now and getting involved in a productive work environment. So these all of what we're talking about here is our crime elimination plan. It's a plan to eliminate crime. It's a plan to empower our children. It's a plan to empower our families. It's a plan to build the economy of Jamaica and make us a prosperous nation. Number 8, we're going to replace the colonial constitution. We want to make sure the Jamaican people become fully free. We want to make sure that we are truly a sovereign nation and that we protect the sovereignty of each individual. So, getting rid of the Queen, getting rid of the Governor General, getting rid of the divisive partisan political system, and becoming a truly independent nation as a non-partisan constitutional republic. Never again should we have a dictator as a leader or have our rights being threatened as they are now by any government. So we're going to build a system that protects us from the government. We're going to have a constitution that protects us from the government and the government that protects us from each other and from external criminal forces that might want to invade our country. So we're talking about real reforms, real changes that's going to give us the Jamaica that we need. We're going to have a directly elected president, 3 county vice presidents elected by the counties, Cornwall, Middlesex, and Surrey. We're going to have 14 elected senators instead of what we have now, which are 21 puppets, which are appointed by the leaders of 2 parties. How can you have that? Your senators being appointed by 2 party leaders. So we're going to get rid of that and have our senators be elected, 1 per parish. And so now you're going to have independent, elected, purpose driven individuals who can protect the interest of their parish, represent the people of their parish, and make sure they hold the executive branch accountable. Similarly, we're going to change the campaign financing structure. Right now, big business, big money, corrupt or otherwise, gets to buy our politician, buy a party, and get that party to do what they want. None of that anymore. We're going to have 100% publicly funded campaign financing, and that means the taxpayers are going to fund a simple, structured campaign of each individual who wants to run for office. Once they can pass the bar, we're going to have a qualification process, which includes taking courses, demonstrating that you understand good governance, that you understand statistics, that you understand the things you need to understand to be able to be a good political representative. Yeah. So we're going to make sure that we have a process that gives us quality political representatives. And once you pass that process, you then get your nominators, a group of people to nominate you and give you their votes. And once you have that, you now qualify for 100% funding in a structured program, not a free for all. You're not getting any money in your hand to spend. What you're going to get is access to the same internet access, the same newspaper access, the same television access, the same town hall meeting access, the same debating stage access, equally, all the candidates in a particular constituency. And then the people can judge you. What you say will be fact checked, so the people know if what you're saying is true or not. And the people can judge you based on your qualification, based on your ability to communicate, and based on your platform or manifesto, and how you have responded to their needs, and then they vote for you. And you have to live in the community where you're trying to represent. Yeah. So that will fix a lot of problems for us. I could go into more, but to keep it simple, then we're not going to have any more politicians as ministers of government. Instead, we're going to have subject matter experts as ministers. So the executive branch, the president and vice presidents, will get together and nominate a person and say, this person is qualified to serve as Minister of Health. Of course, the person has to be a subject matter expert. somebody who actually knows what they're talking about and not somebody who will be a puppet of the foreign masters in case we have another pandemic. And then, of course, the Senate will be allowed to vet that person publicly. So it's not just an appointment. You have to now be vetted publicly by the Senate. The Senate will then recommend to the House of Representatives, and the House of Rep will then vote in or out. So we have a more controlled process, proper checks and balances, and now we have quality leadership in every ministry. Number 9, we're going to investigate, prosecute, and convict all politicians and their associates who participated in any form of corruption that can be proven via a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which will include an amnesty program that provides credible information leading to a criminal conviction. So we have a process to kind of go back in time a little bit and prosecute those who we can prove that they have gained from corruption while in political office, so they won't get off scot-free. The final point in our 10-point plan is a powerful one that might take a little bit of thinking to fully understand. We're going to eliminate all property taxes, all duties, and all other taxes that you have in the country. We're going to eliminate all of them and replace them with 2 simple taxes. Number 1 will be a 10% income tax on income from all sources. And number 2 will be a reduced GCT down from 15% to 10%, which will be used to fund specifically the what do you call it now? Poverty elimination. So we're going to eliminate poverty by protect the environment, and we're going to use this 10% GCT to accomplish that. So this is very important. So this will be a key component of our economic plan. So number 1, single 10% income tax on all sources, which will make it very simple and easy for compliance. So what's going to happen? The cost of compliance will come down. The intake from increased compliance will go up. The underground economy will shrink. On the GCT side, we're now going to have a targeted program to make sure the healthcare, the nutritional needs, the educational needs, the housing needs of our children or family are met. And we're going to be able to manage that in a way that is very transparent to the Jamaican people. It's also going to cap government taxing. So by law, they can't go over the 10%. So the only way that they can get more taxes is if the economy grows, because 10% of $1 billion will be greater when the $1 billion of economic GDP goes to, say, twice that, then your taxes will be twice. 10% of this, a bigger number is a bigger number, bigger amount. So these are key things we're going to use to drive developments. I wish I could spend some more time with you, but I'm now out of time, and I'm being given the signal that I need to go. I'm 8 minutes over. But thank you so much for spending the time with me. I'll come back again and I'll explain more on how the 10-point plan will work to build for us a stronger and better Jamaica. So again, like, subscribe, tell all your friends about the UIC, share this video everywhere. But most importantly, remember, the mainstream media does not want you to hear from the UIC. So you won't see me normally on CVM or TVJ or hear me on the radio, because they have blocked the UIC for the most part. They only kind of get us sometime when they want to ridicule us. So you have to be the one to get people to hear us by sharing all of our UIC Liberty TV videos. Go to our group on Facebook, UIC Jamaica page, UIC Jamaica group, or Twitter handle, everything, and share with everybody, so that when we speak, we still reach Jamaicans, even though the powers that be are trying to block us. You see, they're trying to block us from the debates coming up, the local government debates. They didn't invite us. They didn't even talk to us. They didn't even call us, because they don't want you to hear from us. But you, the people, we, the people, can go around all of that. I will not buy one single ad on those television or radio station. Not one. I will not buy a single ad because they are the enemy. They're working against the people of Jamaica by not doing investigative journalism, by not showing Jamaicans all the options. They keep saying, oh, JLP this, PNP this, and they ignore the UIC. But you don't have to allow them to get away with it. You share, you tell your family, you tell your friends, you tell your co-workers, and share this with them. And when the entire Jamaica hear and know what's going on, they will vote UIC, they will vote for themselves, they'll vote for a new and better Jamaica. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.